Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Wilhelm Scream, and welcome back to another day in Destiny 2 for some more Destiny 2 news and Witch Queen Season of Plunder intel. And this week's Grandmaster Nightfall is the Fallen Saber strike. This is a fairly quick strike and very doable even if you are going to attempt this as a solo player. It has been around for a while, and there are a ton of glitches that you can actually use to get through this a lot faster. If you do complete this on Grandmaster this week, you will be able to get the duty-bound Adept auto rifle, I think. I say I think just because last week it was supposed to be the Mindbender's Ambition, but it wasn't dropping the Adept, so it got changed. But it's supposed to be the duty-bound auto rifle. Perhaps it'll be Mindbender's this week instead, or even something else in the rotation. But let's assume it's duty-bound. Auto rifles are, of course, in the meta this season because of champions. I haven't really had a chance to try out duty-bound myself, but might be pretty good. This is a very fast strike, like I said, so even if you are attempting this at the lower level difficulties, it's a great week to farm this out. You can also do some really good XP farming because you can do the bounties from the EDZ, or excuse me, the Cosmodrome, as well as the strike bounties, and sort of double up on XP because, of course, this is in the Cosmodrome. Lots of glitches and cheeses, as I said, that will help even a solo player trying to attempt this week. For the boss room, we're going to talk about this in 4 different parts because there's really 4 different rooms that you have to progress through. The 2 middle ones are sort of easy. I think most people know about how to get through those, but the 2 major sections that I think are going to give people the most problems are the beginning and, of course, the end, the boss. Maybe the room with the electric fences like you see us doing here. A hunter with invis is the go-to. Otherwise, if you're in a group, just a lot of healing is really the best way for it. The next room, you can kind of hold the door and things like that. But let's start at the beginning. Let's go back to the Warsat, which, if you haven't seen this glitch before, it's an old one, but it's a good one. The emote. So, if you use the pop the chair emote in this specific spot, once the Warsat has actually fallen, you can actually glitch inside the geography of the Warsat and the enemies can't hit you. This has been there for a while. It's been known for quite a while, but for a long time, there was only a couple of emotes that really would work. I think a Dawn the Throne emote kind of worked on occasion. I actually had a hard time getting it to work consistently, though. The pop the chair emote was really the only go-to. However, there is now a new one. This is the, let's call it the gaming emote. I can't actually remember the couch emote. There's a couple of these couch emotes. This one worked. I will say this one did let you get hit on occasion because when you would sort of lean forward, or your character would lean forward, it would kind of get the enemies to notice you a little bit. You would sort of phase out of the geography of the Warsat, but it does work. And this was for sale fairly recently, so there might be more people that have this particular emote than Pop the Chair, just because the Pop the Chair emote is actually fairly old, I think, at this point, maybe 3 or 4 years old. But this one also does work. I believe there is another couch one. Can't remember the name of that one that also works, but you just have to make sure you're in this particular spot. If you are doing this with teammates, have them wait outside of the actual like battle zone here. You don't want them to get any aggro from any of the champions. But if you can just kind of get to this spot, you'll turn around, face away from the geography of the Warsat, so have your back to the Warsat, and then push your way as far back in as you can while crouching, and then activate the emote. And you'll be able to actually get into this spot that will phase through the geography and none of the enemies will attack you, thus allowing you to just get through the Warsat as fast as possible. And don't worry if you are trying to go for the platinum score, because the champions are the only enemies that don't despawn. Though, once the Warsat is gone and all the other enemies are gone, they're fairly easy to just take care of by themselves, as they'll sort of be out in the open in this area. Now, you might have seen at the beginning of the clip in the opening of this video that there is this spot right here in the next room. Now, this is once you get past the Warsat room, you have to get through 3 waves of enemies, I believe, and then you can advance. You also have to go opposite to where you enter so that you can activate the 2 doors that open by throwing a grenade in, or I believe there's an activation queue now. But this room's a real problem, not only because you get a lot of exploding shanks and a lot of invisible enemies, but there's 3 champions, or 4 champions, I believe, at Grandmaster. Holding the door might seem like the thing to do, but because of the way the door opens and because of the range and the overall arc damage that you're going to be receiving from the champions at the opposite end, you really can't stay in the hallway where the door opens for very long. In fact, as soon as the door opens, one real direct shot is going to kill you. So I have found that this right side versus the tunnels on the left side of the room, where I know some people like to go, is actually the best spot. You receive cover from everything to the right side of this room as you enter, and most of the things from the back of the room. You can use healing here. You can even use an emote to get underneath the stairs on occasion. So though that doesn't work all the time if something's already in there hitting you, if you were doing this solo and you saw some enemies that you didn't want to aggro, it's a way to basically break the aggro. Use an emote to get underneath the stairs. But beyond that, it's just a great place to hold out because you can kind of peel out the rest of the room from this one corner. There's not going to be anything coming directly behind you to hit you before the very end when the shanks actually come out of the doors, to which point you can move to another place in that room. But as long as you have some healing, maybe some slowing effects like stasis, you can hold out in that corner. Make sure that you know when the invisible enemies are coming. That's going to be the only real spot where you're going to have trouble, because they will go back there and you just might not see them. If you are on the lookout for them, then you'll be totally fine. None of the champions will really come down that area until you actually shoot at them. Another thing about this particular strike that I think is kind of a little annoying is there's a lot of overload champions. And overload champions, let's face it, they're the toughest champions to fight. Just because they don't really always, let's say, keep to their mechanics. They don't get triggered, they don't get stunned as often as they probably should when you shoot them. So I would recommend bringing a heavy machine gun with you for this particular spot. And some stasis. But remember that stasis also sort of de-triggers the stun on overload champions. So remember that though it might help you take out other enemies first, if it comes down to just 2 overload champions together, the stasis might not help you as much as you'd like. Now the next spot that I want to talk about is, of course, the boss room. Now you could actually do this on both sides of the boss room. Where the electric fences are, there's actually spaces behind where they actually come through that you will not get zapped by the electric fence. These are on both sides of the room as you enter, the left and the right, as far to the wall as you can get. On the right side, you'll have the cover of these pillars. On the left side, the way that the ground and the geography in this room sort of rotates, you actually might have more or less cover at certain points. But you can hide in these spots for the entirety of the boss actual encounter. Now, it's great, again, if you have healing or if you have some stasis, because the boss will only get aggroed to this spot maybe once or twice. And it'll usually be once you've taken out all the other enemies in the room. So you can sort of take your time because you won't be getting shot by, the constant shanks or any of the other enemies while trying to actually fight the boss. So you can actually take out everything else first and then fight the boss. Know when the boss does get aggroed to you, though, you're kind of in a spot. So maybe keep one person running out at that point and have the other 2 just kind of, hunker down with as much healing or shielding as you can possibly have. But if that's done correctly, like I said, you can hold out in this area. You don't have to worry about the lightning effects. The ads actually are fairly manageable because none really come directly here. The ones to really look out for are the exploding shanks, just because they do come in this area. But the sniper shanks won't. You won't have to worry about getting hit by the ones on the opposite side of the room because they can't see you. So you'll be able to mitigate at least one side of damage, and because you're right here, you'll be able to take out the ones that spawn on this side of the room that much faster. And that's going to be it for all the information in today's video. Hopefully you found something in this video helpful. I know it was a lot of information. I do want to give a big shout out to DJ and Demon for helping me with this particular strike and gameplay you're seeing here. Also a big shout out to Sinister, because I believe it was him that actually found this particular space, or actually let us know about this spot in the boss room. There was some old spots in the sort of gantry as you enter the room that you used to be able to hide out in, but those are since patched, can't go there anymore, and I actually think this is a much better spot altogether anyway. Good luck with your GM runs this week. Maybe if you're going for your Conqueror Seal, maybe this is the last one you need, or maybe you're trying to guild your Conqueror Seal. Good luck with all of that. Do farm this if you are just doing the lower level difficulties, because it is a very fast strike to farm. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and turn on the bell, the post notifications, so you never miss out on any Destiny 2 Witch Queen Season of Plunder content like this. You can also follow me on Instagram or Twitter. They'll be linked in the description box down below. And if you've watched to this point in the video, please remember to leave a hashtag Season of Plunder in the comments section for another entry into the next future giveaway on this channel. And we do want every 1,000 subscribers, so you never want to miss out. As always, and once more, I am Wilhelm Scream, and of course, we will see you next time.